What I want you guys to do is, I want you to mark if you know what graph is. If you know what graph is, you could put a check next to I know. If you don't know, but it sounds familiar, you could put a check next to sounds familiar. And if you don't know, mark I don't know. Next one is more. If you know what more means, you could put a check in I know. If you don't, but it sounds familiar, put a check next to sounds familiar. And if you don't know, then you can put I don't know. Don't have two checks in one line for one word. You can only have one check. So you either know it, you've heard of it, or you don't know what it is. Fewer. Fewer. If you've heard of the word fewer, you can mark I know. If you sounds familiar, you can mark sounds familiar. Or if you have no idea what it is, you could write I don't know. Most. If you know what most is, you put I know. If you've heard of it, but you don't know what it is, you're going to mark sounds familiar, or you're going to mark I don't know. Fewest, same thing. I know, put a check. If you don't know, don't put a check here, but it sounds familiar, you'll put a check here. If it doesn't sound familiar, then you will mark I don't know, and you will put a check in the third box. Number 1, use the review words, label the groups. Fewer and more. These are fewer and these are more. Number 2, most, fewest, right? These are the most and these are the fewest. Now I'm showing you the answers. But in class, when we do it, we usually do it together. Fewest means that there are not, it has the least amount. There are only 2 here. But the most means that when you're comparing it to 3 things, it is the one that has the most. Okay, I'm gonna move on now. Okay, so the graph game, if you guys want to do this on your own later, after we're done with lesson 10.1, you guys may do that. Okay, so we're moving on to lesson 10.1, and we're trying to figure out what do the pictures in a picture graph show. Okay, so we're going to be figuring out what the pictures show. Okay, once again, my book has the answers. Your book doesn't, so I'm going to allow you to see this page, but everything else we'll be doing without the answers. I have drew a picture for each cube. Okay, sorry. Read the following problem. There are 2 green cubes and 4 blue cubes. And it has a picture of blue cubes and green cubes. So it tells us there are 2 green cubes, so they drew 2 green cubes. Then it says there are 4 blue cubes. They drew 4 blue cubes. Then it asks you, how many more blue cubes are there than the green cubes? So if you look, they each have at least 2. Okay, there's 2 here, but then there's no more here, but there's 2 more here. So how many more blue cubes are there than green? 2. This side does not have 2 extras, but this side does. So this side has 2 more than this side. Let's move on.